Good morning, everybody. We're just waiting for a few people to come online. We got YouTube subscribers as well that's going online on the YouTube channel, and we're also streaming on Teams Live as well. So thanks again for joining us in this session. In the chat room, afterwards you can ask questions, and then I'll answer you back in the chat room. We'll also upload the video of today's recording as well, and it will also be live on YouTube for the recording session for today. So guys, today we're going to look at the DH Tool Designer tool. It's a great tool to use out there in the market, especially for the CCTV engineers, technical sales engineers. It's a great tool to use to put a project together using our Dahua branded cameras, and then this can be sent afterwards to the clients. So within a couple of minutes or two, we'll start. So I'm just waiting for more people to join, and then we'll go right ahead. Okay, once again guys, thank you for joining us. I'm just going to start the recording here. Okay, so remember that you'll find this today's online virtual training session as well on YouTube. So afterwards you can go and watch the full recording on YouTube as well. So, DH Tools Designer, it's a project tool built for sales engineers, product engineers, technical sales engineers, and sales representatives of everyone out there. So the objective of this course, we'll also do a live practical demonstration how to set up the software after this slide. So I'm not going to go through the whole slide, but you guys are here so that we can see this DH Tools live in action. After the learning course, you will be able to get a DH Tool Designer account. So simply go onto our website and register a username and password on the dahuasecurity.com website, and you'll be able to log on to this DH Tools Designer account. We'll also learn about the homepage modules, how to manage the projects through the DH Tool Designer, and also get familiarized how to start the DH Tool Designer. So if we look at the overview of the DH Tool Designer, it's a comprehensive online solution for projects, selection and planning, and it's empowering installers with tools to streamline workflows and enhance their decisions making. And where can you find this DH tool? So when you go onto dahuasecurity.com, you click on support, and then on the left hand side it will say tools. Once you go to DH Tool Designer, you will be prompted to create an account. So simply click at the bottom. If you already got an account, you can then simply just enter your username and password. And then at the bottom, you can select Create Account. From there onwards, we'll be prompted to select your language of choice, also the email, password, and then confirm the password. If you've already got an account, you can just simply click on Already have an account and then log on. From there onwards, the quick access menu on under your country region, click on the global on the home page and select the country of region according to your location. It will default to the country region when you registered. Some key notes to take in consideration: if you switch the country or region, the device information selected country in your current project will be invalid. So just to give you some more keynotes, when you choose a different country, only certain models are available depending on which country you're on. And then obviously you can select your language choice on the bottom right. This is the web interface page of the DH Tools, and then on the right hand side you can simply just change it to English or any other language that's available. Now there's a quick access way of getting into the project and to get ready and started. So under quick access, you'll see there's two tabs that says Add Project or Import Project. Okay, so once you click on Add Project, you'll be able to give your project a name, and then Import Project. Once you completed the project, there's also, if somebody else is designing or using this tool, they can always send you the file afterwards, and then you can import that file under DH Tools and then open the project which they were currently busy on. But we'll talk later about the Import Project tab. For now, we're just going to focus on the Add Project side, how to set up using the DH Tools. Then on the quick access menu, you'll see there's a storage selector. This is where you select your network video recorder. That falls under storage selector. There's also a video intercom selector, a turnstile selector, there's also the access control, and then your disk bandwidth calculator. So these are all tools that you can use under DH Tools. On the access control selector, you'll only be able to select your access control devices and then export a PDF document afterwards. The same as to the video intercom selector, your turnstile selector, and your disk bandwidth calculator. So these are all only PDF documents, so you won't be able to import a floor plan or a map using these modules. Only under your storage selector will you be able to import maps and Google Maps. After that, when you go on Add Project, you'll see from this window that you can enter a name, so it was created by whoever the sales engineer or technical engineer is. You can also customize the logo on the home page. So if you're doing a project for a client and sending off a PDF document and you want to look professional, obviously then you can change this logo and add in the client's logo on this. The scene will have a drop down where you can say it's a security system design, or there will be other options also available which we'll show you later on a practical demonstration of this. Next up, once you click on Add Project, your projects will be lined up underneath each other. So on the far right of this projects, that's the DH Tools. So it's called a .dat file, and this file can be sent off via email to any of the clients to import it into their DH Tools. So if they forgot to add on extra features or extra cameras, or maybe your total device is incorrect, they can always import it into their DH Tool project, and then they can edit the project that you currently designed for them. And so keep in mind the tabs with the three dots, export and copy. You can also copy this and then work on the same design And then once you alter it and change it and you are happy and satisfied, you can then send it off to the client. So the copy will just copy your original file so that you don't lose any information or when you make changes on the top one. Then adding devices, so you'll have your overview. You can select your devices. From your devices, then simply just click and drag it onto your map or your floor plan, and then after that your reports. This is just an overview of the simple layout of the software and how it looks like. On the left hand side, the overview, you'll have your logo, your creator, your application scenarios, your notes, your device quantities and channels. And then on the middle part of this section is where you can actually work on the project, configure the accessories, link it to a storage device. And then after that, you'll have the option to export the device list, the installation report, and the system plan of your current project. Okay, so under a new project, you'll see on the top side is your devices. This is the total devices that's been added onto the project, the amount of channels that is going to occupy from the network video recorder, your total storage that is allocated to the network video recorder for the amount of cameras that you've added, and then your total bandwidth of this. On the top side, your overview, your devices, your maps, and then your reports. So 4 sections that is available to you to export once you're done with the project. Okay, so to start the project, we're simply going to click on Add, and then you can select your camera or your storage, your monitors, that's your screens, and then your transmissions, and then your cable. So these are the options that you have to select when you design a project for a client. On the right hand side, you'll have your device subtype. So if I click on camera, you'll have the options for network cameras, HDCVI, PTZs, ITC cameras, and then thermal cameras. At the end of the day, on the left hand side will be your parameters. So you can change the appearance. It doesn't matter if it's an IPC or an analog camera, you'll be able to select the type of device, and then automatically it will pop up all the devices under the category that you selected on the left hand side. Then on the far right side is where your devices that you've selected from this middle list, it will then display on the right hand side, and you can just double up on the quantities of those devices. Always remember, once you selected your devices on the right hand side, that you have to click on Add to add it onto the physical profile that you've created. Okay, so once you're on the map, you'll have all your devices that you've selected. So there's another feature that we've added on here. Once you've added your devices, you'll be able to see when you select each product or each IPC camera, you'll be able to see what is your installation height, and then enter the installation height of that camera, your monitoring distance for that camera, and then once you select the monitoring mode for IVSS perimeter protection, it will give you an overview or pixel image of depending on the distance that you've entered here on monitoring distance, how the pixel is going to look like. So that is also a great added feature on the project design tool, to see how your pixels is going to look like on that amount of distance. Okay, so on adding devices on your maps or your floor plan, basically what you see here on the left hand side is how the picture is going to look like to you once you add and drop your cameras. On the right hand side, you'll have also a 3D overview. So side view, top view, and what is the distance that this camera will be able to see. So currently it's set to monitoring distance, and the monitoring distance is 9.2 meters, and you'll also see an overlay of what the camera will basically see on that distance. On the top and side, you'll see there's a little square here. That square is that you can use. So let's say if the camera looks downwards, like this picture that you see in front of you, you can actually take that little square and then drag a line. You'll be able to drag a line, and then it will basically tell the system that there's a wall there. Hi Mark, thanks for joining. We've actually just started now, so you haven't actually missed out that much. Thanks for joining us. We'll go to the practical side of the DH tools in a few moments. Okay, so once you click on that little square there, that ruler, looks like a ruler, you'll be able then to drag a straight line to tell the system that there's a wall. The next object is where you can drag a human into the view of the camera, so you can place a human there. You can also place a vehicle there. There's also a little ruler to measure distances on your Google Maps, and then your 3D view monitoring on the maps, and that will be on the right hand side. Okay, so let's go over to the software. Okay, so basically once you log onto the web interface of the DH Tools, remember to create your account or use your current dahua-security.com login details to access the DH tool. So the layout is actually straightforward and simple. It's not that hard to navigate through the system. Here's your video intercom selector, your turnstiles, and your access controls. So I'm going to show you what will happen once I select this. So if I go onto the video intercom selection side, you'll be able to choose your scene and then also your system solution. So let's select a normal domestic house, and then it will be PoE selection. If I click on next, it will then give me the options to select my devices. So under camera, you can select your megapixel size of the camera that's built into the system. Then also you can select your screen size. So in this case, we're going to select the 4.3-inch screen. And then your material, is it normal ABS material, is it aluminium? So you'll have the option to choose your material type. Then on the far right side is your IP rating. We definitely want to install this product outdoor, so we'll select IP65. But before this can happen, remember that you have to create a project. So we're going to select Add Project. Then, as I mentioned in the PowerPoint presentation, you can change the logo here on top. So we're just going to leave it by default to Dahua. We're going to say created by George. Your scene type, we're going to say residential area, or you can select retail. And then you can add in a note just to make it easier to find this project, or to help you memorize what this project was about. And then we're going to click on Add New right here in the middle. Then, from the left-hand side, you'll see there's your cameras, your storage, your monitor, and your transmission devices. So we're just going to click on Add. Okay, so remember we selected camera. So under camera, under appearance, you can then select if you're looking for a PTZ camera or a dome. So in this case, we're just going to select bullets. Lens type, you can also choose if you're looking for a motorized. Let's go for a motorized. Resolution size, we can also select the resolution of that camera, or you can just leave it by default none selected. Remember that you can also choose your illumination distance. I've already know the model type that I'm looking for, so in this case I'm just going to type in HFW. Let's go for a HFW 3449, which is the most popular versions out there. And then obviously you can see that it's a 2.7 to 12mm lens. Why is it a 12mm lens? This camera's got the ability to zoom in. It's a motorized camera, and it can change the lens size to a 12mm. Remember that you'll always have a dead spot once this camera is totally zoomed in. So your focal length sizes will change depending on where you've set your lens under the motorized zoom. So I'm going to choose this Pro version, and I'm going to click on the plus sign. So you're on the right hand side. I'm going to select a total of 5 of these cameras, and then I'm going to add it onto my project. So always remember to click on add. So I've selected my 5 cameras. Now on the left hand side I will click on storage. Yet again I'll click on add, and then I'll search for my NVR. So in this case I'm going to use a 5 series EI model, which is going to be a 16 channel. Remember that you've got the option to choose NVR with built-in PoE. So depending on how you design this project for the client or what you're quoting the client, there's the option to choose an NVR that's got built-in PoE. Normally it will show you 16p or 8p. This is just a normal EI model, so it doesn't have built-in PoE. So I've selected 5 cameras, so I'm going to be happy with a normal 16 channel NVR. So NVR 5.4. So the reason why I said 5.4 is it's only 5 cameras. So I don't need more than 2 bays of hard drives. So I've selected a 5 series. We can make it a 5.2. And then 16 will be the amount of IP cameras that I want to add onto my recorder. So I'm looking for an NVR 5216. So 5 series, it takes 2 hard drives. If the client wants more than 2 months of recording, you can always quote them the NVR 54 series. In this case 5216, and then I'll just click on search. And then here at the bottom it will throw out my NVRs. So there's the NVR that I'm looking for. It's the 5216. That one is the XI, so I'm actually looking for the EI model. So I'm just going to go to the next page. Okay, so there is my EI model. So it's the NVR 5216 EI2 model. So it's got the new UI version that will be discussed in a separate online virtual training. So keep your eyes open on the social media pages as well as YouTube, where we're going to go through this whole interface of this 5216 EI2 model. So the EI2 only means that we've upgraded the UI software on the NVR, and that's why it says EI2. So on the right hand side I only need 1 NVR, so I'm going to leave it on 1, and I'm just going to double check that I've selected the correct NVR. So this one doesn't have PoE, because under my transmission devices I'm going to select a PoE switch for my 5 cameras. And then at the bottom right I'll simply click on add, and now you can see there's my NVR. You can see I've selected 5 cameras already, so channels is 5 of 16, and it already shows me the storage amount device that I'm going to need, 4.5 terabytes out of 36 that it can take, and my total bandwidth for the 5 cameras is 14.4 megabytes per second. Then I'll go down the line again on the left hand side and I'll select my monitor. And then someone's going to give the client a 55-inch, nice and big. Someone just add that to the project. So I only need 1 monitor. Click on add. And the transmission, and this is where I'm going to select my PoE switch. I'll click on add again. And then remember that a desktop switch, a normal gigabit desktop switch, is very important to add on. So you'll see that this switch doesn't have PoE ports. So in this case, I'm going to select a normal desktop switch to communicate to my PC if the client wants to run the software on his PC. Then I'll scroll a little bit downwards, and then you'll see that this little guy here has got 4 PoE ports. So let's look for an 8-port one. That is your industrial hardened switch. So you can also choose the switch if you want to. What's great about this switch is it can also take a PTZ camera, because the first 2 ports are labeled in red. So it tells me it can operate a 25 times optical PTZ. So this is also a great switch to use. So let's change the project. So there's a 4-port PoE switch. So I'm definitely going to take 2 of that. So the client phoned me and he made some changes the last 2 minutes. He's got a warehouse where he wants to add on 2 cameras. So I'm utilizing a 4-port PoE switch, 2 of them, and then 1 gigabit switch. So the rule of thumb is, when you do a project or a quote for a client, that all your transmission or all your communication going back from your PoE switches needs to be plugged into a normal gigabit switch. And then it goes to the NVR and then splits to the PC. So always remember to add on a normal gigabit switch. Normally they utilize the uplink ports on the PoE switches, but if you are your money worth, then you'll add on a gigabit switch to this project. Okay, so I'm just simply going to add this to the project. So there's my devices, my PoE switch. Under monitors, I've got a 55-inch screen that I've added onto here. Then under storage, I've selected my EI2 NVR model. And then, just to double check that I've selected the correct cameras, there is my 3449 camera. Okay, so I've selected all my devices. Next, we're going to go to the cable. Yet again, I prefer Cat6 cable to communicate from my NVR to my normal switch, and then I use a normal Cat5 cable between my camera and my NVR. Okay, so there's my Cat5 cable. I'm just going to add that. I'll be using maybe more than 100 meters, but just to make sure, I'll choose 2 of this network cables. Okay, so all my devices has been selected. Now the next step on the designer tool, I'll go to maps. And this is where the fun starts. Seems to me I've got a little bit of a network issue. Okay, so all your devices will be listed here on the left hand side. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to add my map. So I'm going to click on add now. You've got the option to add in your floor plan, a Google map location, or a Google satellite map. So these are the options that you've got. So first of all, I'm just going to click on a a Google satellite map. I'm going to allow this time. I'm going to name my map. So let's say this is it's Tex Electric. And then if you know the address, you can simply put in the address of that. In this case, I don't have the address. I might have 118. So I'm going to select that address, and then obviously so there's my address. I'm going to say Tex Electric, and then I'm going to say OK, and I'm going to add this Google Map location onto my plan. Okay, so my Google Maps has been pulled in, and now I can simply zoom in or zoom out and change the way this map looks like. Okay, so remember that you can also add in a floor plan. So if I click on floor plan, I'm going to click on drag and drop the files here. Okay, so my floor plan has been uploaded. And then just rename your floor plan. I'm going to press OK. And remember that you can add on multiple locations of the Google Maps and multiple floor plans under the same project. So I'm just going to change to my Google Map floor plan, or my layout of my Google Maps. And then you've got your cameras here on the left hand side. So what's going to happen now is I'm just going to zoom in some more. And then click on the camera device, drag and drop it. So remember, the camera that we've chosen is not a perimeter camera, so I definitely don't want to use this camera on my perimeter fence line. So what I definitely want to do is use this camera on the building, and as you drag the camera, it's going to pixel out once you pull it out. On the far right hand side, my installation height will be 3 meters. It will be for IVS monitoring protection, so I'm going to change my monitoring mode to IVS protection. My target or my monitoring height, a human being, is, let's say, close to 2 meters. And then you'll see it will show you the IVS detection. So you can see that your pixel density also changes as you pull it outwards. So in this case, there is a little gate there, so I'm just going to drag and drop it to that gate there at 6.7 meters. So the focal length will be 12 millimeters. So you're going to have to zoom. Remember, it's a motorized camera, so we're going to zoom the camera in and utilize the 12 millimeter lens that's on it. And we can actually drag it some more to 15.3 meters. And that you will be able to see the human being still. So it hasn't pixeled out because it's motorized camera, it's zoomed in all the way. Next, I'll drag and drop my second camera. So there's another gate here in the middle of the building. I'm just going to drag and drop it there. This camera will be faced on this gate. And you can see that my pixel density it's nice and clear. Monitoring height will be at 3 meters for this camera. We're also going to use IVS detection on this. Monitoring height will be then 2 meters. So my second camera has been dragged and dropped. Now I'm going to go for the third camera, and we're going to put it on this corner here. And this one will then watch over this area here. So let's do it. Normally they can jump over that wall there. Yet again, installation height is 3 meters, my monitoring height is 2 meters, and we can see that the pixels are still nice and clear. Then we're going to add on our fourth camera. And this one we can set to watch over that area. Okay, and then the last camera we'll then use. Let's also put it there to that one there. So I'm only using 5 cameras for the solution, but obviously you're going to need more cameras. There's a lot of blind spots at the back of the building on the left hand side, but for this virtual training we only focus on 5 cameras for now. So I'm covering the front side of this building, so my cameras have been added and dropped into it. And now where this camera is looking, there's a wall there, so I'm just going to show you what it does if I use this tools. So I'm going to click on draw a wall. So I'm going to say that my wall is 3 meters high. Okay, and what it's going to do now is it's going to create or add a wall there. So as I drag this camera, you'll see that the overview of the camera, it can't look past the wall, it's just bouncing right directly into the wall. So if you remove the wall, this camera will look past the wall. But this is just to show the client that there is a wall there and the camera cannot look past that wall. And just to be fancy, I can also add in a vehicle here. Okay, just to show the client that there's vehicles there, so I click on done. And then we can also add a human being if we also want to, just for the sake of it. Okay, so I've added my vehicles, I've added my human beings, and then from there onwards, I think my map is completed. But let's say the client phones you, we can also add in a thermal camera. So I'm just going to click here on the left hand side where this little camera icon is, and I'm going to look for a thermal camera. Normally we can use the BF1241 thermal camera. And then I'm going to search for it, and then here's all my thermal cameras. So we advise all of our clients to go for a thermal camera when it comes to perimeter protection. And a great camera to use for perimeter protection is the TPC BF1241, and we always use the 10mm camera because at least we can cover a long distance with the 10mm. A 7mm is designed to cover or give you detection for up to 47 meters. But if you want a thermal camera that can go way beyond 47 meters, then the next up on that will be then a normal 10mm thermal camera. So I'm going to add this one. The other things that we see that clients do, this is a Wi-Fi one, so I'm just going to remove that. Okay, and that one I definitely want. So I'm going to make it, for this virtual training, I'm just going to make it 2 thermal cameras. Now, the other thing that I see that clients does when they select thermal cameras, be careful that you don't select the camera that's got the -T at the end. So it will say BF54, it will say BF1241, -T. That -T stands for temperature, so make sure that you don't choose that type of thermal camera when you do a project like this. So this one doesn't have the -T, so I'm definitely going to use this one. I'm just going to zoom in on my project, drag and drop my thermal camera. The 10mm camera can actually go quite a distance, and I can actually pull it as far as I want to. Remember, on the left and on the right hand side of your thermal camera that you drag and place onto the map, you'll have your thermal side of the camera because it's a dual lens camera, and then you'll have your visible side, which is a full color mode. So on the left hand side, installation height, we can say it's 3 meters. We're going to do IVS protection on this camera, and the monitoring height that it should look at is going to be about 2 meters. So obviously we're going to do human detection with this thermal camera. If I click on the visible view, I can then drag and also pull the distance of this camera to look at. So we're going to leave the camera on to look from here onwards to the left hand side, and then we can add another thermal camera on this side. And then pull the detection range up until that corner. So we've got 2 thermal cameras covering our perimeter, both left and right hand side. And then you can always add on the blind spots more of these thermal cameras. Remember to set your monitoring height as it is installed on 3 meters high. Your installation height is 3 meters, and then your monitoring height will then be 2 meters for normal human detection. You can also see that it will recognize the human being, and then here's the option that says 3D mode. So if I click on 3D mode, it takes a while to render, to show up. So there's your top view of your thermal, your side view of the thermal camera. So you'll be able to see what is your detection distance of that thermal camera. So it's installed on 3 meters. It must look for the object at 2 meters, and then the total distance where this camera needs to look at is 44.6 meters. So from where the camera has been installed all the way down here to the bottom, and it will give you a nice side view of that camera. And then there's also the option to do orbit. So if you've got a nice screen recorder software like OBS, you can utilize the software and record this little 3D view for the client as well. Just show him where the camera is going to be installed on what height, what is the distance the thermal camera is going to look at, and then send it to the client afterwards. Okay, so 2 thermal cameras that's been added onto my project. I've got 5 normal DH IPC HFW 3449. Remember, if you're looking for indoor cameras, you can change the HFW to HBW to give you the indoor version of what you're utilizing on the outside. So I'm just going to go now over to my floor plan. So there's my floor plan of the building. I'm going to click on okay, now you have to measure the distance on the floor plan. So by default, you'll have this little click to draw come in. So normally, if I click there and I click there, you must tell it what is the distance. So a doorway is normally 1.2 meters or 1.3. I'm speaking under correction, but then you have to measure a distance so that the software knows what is the scale of your map. So normally you can take measure a doorway, and then measure the distance in a doorway and tell the system that this is the distance from there to there. So it can auto adjust on your scale. Okay, so we don't have any cameras now. So yet again, I'm going to click on the camera icon and I'm going to look for the same model camera that I'm using on the outside. So this is a 3449 camera, so I'm going to look for the indoor version of that one. I'm going to click on the plus sign. So HDW. If I put in a HDBW, it's going to look for an eyeball camera. In this case, I'm just going to look for a normal HDW 3449. Click on search. So there's also a black camera, so let's stick to black. It's a 3449. This is the Pro version. Well, black's going to look a little bit harsh inside, so let's go just for a normal white indoor camera. So yet again, this is a motorized camera, but you can stick to a non-motorized camera if you want to. So in this case, I'm going to go for a 2.8mm lens, nice wide angle, and I'm going to add it to my project. So I'm going to add 5 for the purpose of this training session. I'm going to add 5 of those cameras. It's going to take me back to my map overview, my floor plan, and now you can simply drag and drop a camera in the areas that you and the client has discussed. So 2.8 is like a nice and wide. I can actually put it in that corner, drag it to the point, and then use your wall tool. So I'm going to click on draw a wall. My wall is 3.5 meters high. I'm going to click on done, and then I'm just going to just drawing my wall as I go along. Then click on done. So there you can see the camera or the software knows that there's a wall there. Then I'm going to drag and drop another camera. So they're looking for a camera here in the hallway. So I'm just going to put a camera there. But obviously, in this area, I don't want to go for a 2.8. So I'll rather change my lens size to a 3.6. Because the 2.8mm lens, to look in this pathway or in this area, it's too wide for it. So rather go for a 3.6 or a much higher lens size camera to use in a passage. I'm just going to click on my draw wall. Okay, so that's all that the camera can see. I'm going to click on done, and then you can simply drag and drop another camera. So I'm going to place another camera there to look this way. And draw a wall again. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 cameras, and then I've actually added 5 cameras, and now you can just go and add more cameras on your floor plan. Okay, I think that's enough cameras for this floor plan. So basically, when you add on your walls, the client will be able to see where the camera is looking at and the distances and how far the camera is going to see. And then just to be funny, I'm just going to drag and drop a human being in there. Another one there, another one there. Okay, so there's my human beings inside the building. And then from there onwards, what is left of this project? So we click on reports. Okay, so there's the devices that I've chosen. It's a normal device list report. There's my NVR, my screen, my switches, my cable. And this you can also click on download PDF and then obviously save it in a folder. Next option is your installation report. So if you look at the installation report, it's going to give you a little bit more details of this. Total devices is 17. It's going to utilize 14 channels. Why 14 channels? Because my thermal cameras is a dual lens, so it uses 2 channels. Always remember that. So the dual lens thermal cameras utilize 2 channels. Then on the right hand side, you've got your total storage of 11.4 terabytes. That this camera is going to use, and my total bandwidth is 36.8 megabytes. So the floor plan gives you a nice overlay of where your cameras is installed on each section. It gives you a little bit of the specs of the camera as well. And as I scroll down, you'll be able to see where all my cameras has been placed on my floor plan as well as my Google Maps. Okay, so remember this is all day recording, so it was calculated at 4 megapixel cameras, 30 frames second, bitrate is 2560 on channel 1, so total hard drive recording space that you're going to need is 11.4 terabytes. You can also tell the system that you need it for 2 months as well. Okay, now if we go to our system plan, so normally I send the client the installation report and a system plan. System plan shows you your 2 maps. We didn't name our project correctly, that's why it says new project. Then at the bottom it says storage occupied by your cameras connected to the device. Then a little bit more details on all the devices that you've selected, the layout of your floor plan, and then for each camera where the camera has been placed inside the maps, and then your Google Maps is also shown on this report. And you can simply click on download PDF report and then send it off to the clients. Now, if you're working on this project and you needed to send this project to someone else to also work on it, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on My Projects on the left-hand side window, and you'll see here on the right-hand side where it says Operation. The last tab, you can export this project. So if I click on Export, I can select, I can go where it has been downloaded to, and this .dat file can be sent off via email to the client. So once the client receives this file, he can simply import it again into his designer tool. So I'll click on the so here on the top where it says import project, then I think it's on the download section, so there is the project. I'm not going to import it now, but once you click on import project, it will throw it here under your project list. So let's navigate back again to the quick access option. We already spent almost an hour online. So previously we said that you must add the project, and then these options here, we see video intercom. So let's go with access control selector. And now you can also send a PDF report to the client alongside the CCTV. So if you're doing his access control devices, you can select if it's a single door or a multiple doors. So let's select multiple doors bi-directional ways, so both ways, entrance or exit. Here you can say it's a 4-door, the project is going to be for 4 doors. Number of users is going to be 1000, and then yes, you need PoE switch. I just don't know why it's not selecting my 4 doors. But let's use more of these number of doors. So 2 doors, you can click on the plus sign, it's going to add it on the device list on the right hand side. Metal case, you have the option to choose the metal case as well if you want to as an accessory. And then if you want, you can also add on a 12 volt 3 amp power supply. Okay, my internet usage is a lot, so I do apologize. I can't select the amount of doors, but I'm just giving you an example that you can select the doors, select your accessories, select the power supplies, then go over to your card readers. So whatever devices is applicable to this device, it will show you under the card reader and then your accessories as well. Then on the right hand side, you'll have your device list according to the controllers that you've selected. Then click on next. Here you can choose the authentication type. If you're looking for password or card only, you can select that. Then it needs to be waterproof. You can tell the system, or IK8 system. We're going to look for a touch button, or you can also choose mechanical button size. Then slim design, then we'll throw you out all the devices. So in this case, let's choose the touch button password option. I'm also going to add that on. So it's a 2-door controller, so I'm going to choose 2 of these devices. Remember to change it to 2 card readers. Then face recognition, access control. You can then select it's indoor. Authentication type is face. Number of users. There you can choose your device for the amount of users. Do you need to have Wi-Fi? Yes. Then select your device. So in this case, let's go for a normal DHI AS13. It's a 4.3 inch screen. This one can do 1,500 users, but then you've got the other options that will give you more users. So in this case, let's just choose that device. I'm also going to make it 2 of those access control devices. Then you can also choose your MAC locks. Remember, depending on a distributor, you can also ask them if they do sell the Dahua MAC locks. The distributors might have their own MAC locks, but you've also got the option to add on a MAC lock as well. Then there's the no-touch buttons, the brake glass sensors you can add on, the automatic door closures that you can add onto this project if you want to. So if a door closure is a must-have. Then your card issuers, these devices normally works on the PC, so it's a USB device. So for fingerprint enrollment, card enrollment, the options is available to choose here. And then simply click on next, and then you can download this device list and also send it to the client. So this is also a much easier way to send it alongside your CCTV project. So guys, besides the DH Tools Designer, there's also the Dahua Product Selector tool. So if you don't know the codes and you're looking for a correct camera to use on your DH Designer tool, normally it just shows you the product code. You can always come to the Dahua Product Selector tool site. From the Dahua Product Selector tool, you can obviously tell the system that you're looking for a bullet camera. And then if you scroll down, you're looking for a camera that can do ANPR functions or IVS, or you can tell the system that you're looking for a camera that can do face recognition. And then the system will automatically change to the cameras that can do facial recognition. So in this case, let's go for AccuPic cameras. That's also a nice AR function. And then the system will change to the devices that can do AccuPic. And this is a way that you can see what cameras accordingly to the AI function that you've chosen to add onto your project design tool. So I always use the product selected tool, and then I look at my spec sheet of the product and I make sure that it is what I'm actually looking for. So it does have built-in audio, it's an AccuPic camera, and my network is very slow, so it doesn't open up the spec sheet. But that's also a great tool to use if you're looking for cameras with certain AI functions, or you don't know what is the product code. You can always go to the product selected tool. So simply type in Dahua product selected tool, choose your appearance of the camera, and there's plenty of to choose from. Choose your resolution, and then obviously you can choose your AI function on the camera, and it will list all the products that has got that feature. Once you know what camera does have the function you're looking for, then on the DH tool under your projects, so if I click here on my projects and I go to my camera devices, I can simply type in or copy in the code when I'm looking for a camera for my project. So if I click on this little plus sign, I can simply select the cameras here. Okay, so that is the wrong one, so let's go to a different model. So we might have this model, so I'm just going to copy this model. It's a 2 megapixel camera. It's got AccuPic functions. So I go to my designer tool, and then I just paste in my model number there because I've seen what the specification is. And then sometimes that model number might not be loaded on here. So what I can do is I can just take out the first part of my code. IL means it's smart dual lights. I can click on T. It also doesn't have that one. Okay, let's just look for a 5429. My network is very slow again. Okay, but you can see what I'm actually doing. I'm looking at the specification of this model, and I can copy the code and just paste it into my designer tool, and it will show you all the cameras that's available under that code. And this is how you can set up and utilize the project design tool. Okay guys, so thank you for joining us today. I think this was a great session to look at. Remember to go and look or find the video on YouTube afterwards. We've actually recorded onto YouTube Live as well, so if you want to go and look at this video again, there's some more training session coming up later in April, right through to May and June as well. So if you want to join us on those training sessions, but we encourage our customers for in-class training to get certified on this, and this is where we can actually do more practical theory and in-class training at our Dahua centers, also in Cape Town and Durban as well. But I want to thank you for joining this session, and looking forward to many more online virtual training sessions like this. And you guys must have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Mark, for joining as well from Top CCTV. Some familiar names that I see here. So go well, go Shell, and we'll see you in the next one.